In recent headlines, major budget cuts to Kahnawake's local school system is getting reaction this week, not only from school administration, but also from parents. We go now to Regan Jacob-Stock for more details. Regan, can you give us some of those details as to how much of the budget has been cut and what type of reaction is actually out there?
Well, Christine, there are a lot of concerns by parents that have children in the school system here in Kahnawake. And of course, there was a big meeting held this week at Kahnawake to discuss some of these issues, and we'll get to that in a minute. But some parents are upset that they're only finding out about these cuts and some of these issues so close to the start of the new school year, and are asking why not back in June when school administration obviously had already known that these issues and cuts were coming. Now, according to Eddie Cross, who is the director at the Kahnawake Education Center, nearly $500,000 will be cut this year from the budgets at Kahnawake, Kahnawake, and Kahnawake Survival School.
What we've done is we were aware of a deficit as early as the month of May. So for our three schools, we've had to either not fill positions that were going to be vacant because of retirements or leave of absence. So what we've done is each one of our school administrators was asked to come up with a plan of action on how they can reduce the deficit in each one of their schools. So those cuts were necessary, and the total amount of the projected deficit is still, above that, which is $376,000. It represents 3% of our total budget. So with those changes, we're hoping that by the end of March, our fiscal year, that we won't have a deficit.
And how will this affect the schools?
Well, Christine, Survival School is taking the biggest cut at $207,000, $421, with 1.5 teacher positions being cut in carpentry and also a school janitor and a few other services. Next up is Kahnawake School at $136,800. Cuts have been made to one classroom teacher, the library center staff, and in the Fluency Center. Now, in the Fluency Center, although the cuts will not affect services to the students, it was more on the basis of training teachers in that area. As far as Kahnawake is concerned, cuts amounting to $93,375. Some of the biggest cuts came to them losing an entire grade.
I understand that there was a meeting this past Wednesday. Can you tell me what happened?
Yes, Christine, as I just mentioned, Kahnawake had planned on cutting the grade 3 class entirely and combining them with grade 2 and 4 to create split classes. Now, parents were obviously not in agreement with that. Nearly 80 to 90 parents showed up for a meeting which was held this past Wednesday evening to discuss the issue with school administration. And after nearly 2 hours of talks between parents and administration, there was lots of debating going on, lots of talks about why parents did not support a split level class. Finally, school admin got up and, from what I understand, said that the grade 3 will be kept.
Yeah, well, that concern was expressed, so we took immediate action to alleviate the split level classes. So now, essentially, what we have from grade 1 right up to grade 4 is they're just straight classes. So we've brought the one grade 1 teacher back and the grade 3 teacher back. So that eliminated their concerns. It's fine and dandy, but now as a community, as a Kahnawake education system, then we have to look at, before our fiscal year ends, which is the end of March, where are we going to get those additional funds then? So we have enough in the budget to carry us, but the thing is, some decisive action is going to have to be taken, and we can't let it drag until, the 11th hour. One thing that I will say that drove the issue home to me last night, there was one Kahnawake school student that got up last night, grade 3, spoke all in Mohawk, and said that she and other students do not want the split level. And then I said to myself, who went and talked to those kids really and asked them? And then I heard some parents express to me that the kids did say that they didn't want that. So last night, that was, to me, the thing that said, we're going to change this, absolutely.
Finally, Christine, parents are asking why so many cuts this year. Once again, according to Eddie Cross from the Kahnawake Education Center, there was a mismanagement of funds at the Indian Affairs level.
They've been calling it the Inuit Cree factor. And what happened is that the Inuits and Crees were included in their funding population for the province of Quebec. For many years, even after the James Bay Agreement was signed, the James Bay Agreement basically created two school boards, one for the Inuits and one for the Crees, and they really should never have been included in the global school population for the province of Quebec. So there was a correction factor this fiscal year, and that correction factor was passed on to every First Nations community in the province of Quebec.
Also, tuition fees have increased for students attending public schools. Nearly 500 students from Kahnawake go out of town for school, as opposed to the 800 who stay here to be educated within the community.
There's one more cut I'd like to point out. The school committee approved that this year the student allowance that students receive for consumables, it's $150 per student, will be cut from the program, so there will be no student allowance issued this year and in the next coming years, and that should save us about $75,000.
Things are still developing right now as school administrations are reevaluating their recommendations to deal with these budget cuts. But it's business as usual as it's back to school this Monday for some of the schools here in Kahnawake. Back to you, Christine.